Fall is here. The leaves are turning. The temperatures have dropped. And the rain is falling. After a summer of riding bikes, it's time to give back a little. It's time for some trail work. Over the past year or so, I've been working on a trail that I've codenamed Stone Starlet. It's about 1 kilometer of single track with various features dotted along it. And though the trail is complete and was opened last September, there's still plenty of room for more features. So I want to add another jump to the trail, but let me show you where it is first. So after the You Can Do It drop, you've got the small step down, then a right-hand berm, then a left-hand berm. Then you have a small straight section where there's not a lot happening on the trail. It's just a single track. And this is where I want to build the jump. And then I want to jump between these two trees and land on the downhill section after them. And since we'll be jumping between two trees, it'll be a goalpost jump. I've called these two trees goalposts because, well, they're kind of like goalposts. Just like a footballer kicks a ball through a set of metal uprights, I want to jump through this set of trees. And since the space between the trees is so narrow, success isn't guaranteed. Just the same as football.
Clean, hold clean, Borgalis off the upright!
So the next thing I want to do is clear the duff off the area where I'm going to put the trail and the jump. In the mountain bike world, the term loam is often misused. When people say loam, they're talking about that loose organic stuff on the forest floor. But that stuff is called duff. Loam is actually dirt, a mix of clay, sand, and silt. And don't ask me why mountain bikers have gotten this wrong, because I don't have a clue. Now that I've got the majority of the loam, the duff, removed, I can start to shape the trail and the jump. You know, rain is kind of a necessary evil here in coastal BC. It's a great time to trail build. It's not that fun to ride right now, and you know, wet dirt makes it easy to pack. And also because of that rain, we get this beautiful rainforest that we can build in, which is, you know, to me, it just really feels like home. I'm just happy to be out here, and you know, it's so green and lush and beautiful, and you definitely got to stay optimistic about it. Like I know a lot of people just hate the rain and, you know, go into a bit of a funk when it's like this. And I'm definitely that way of it too. But if you can embrace it and, you know, dress properly, then, you know, it's not that bad. And you know, for me, if I'm outside, whether it's riding or building, I'm probably in a pretty happy place. I'm in a pretty fortunate position. I used to work at a desk job for 18, 19 years, and by the end of that career, I was just going nuts. Like I just had to sit inside in a dark room in front of a glowing monitor for 8 hours a day or more. I'd way rather be out here. I'd way rather be out here. But the sun would return the next day, and I could continue to shape the lip. Well, I've got the general shape pretty good now. So now I just want to really start to refine it and start to pack it down. And you really just start with like really rough shapes, you know, just try to get the dirt in the right spot. And then just start refining, and then hopefully you'll end up with a jump that's hopefully going to work. You know, it's funny, this dirt sculpting stuff, it's so similar to what I used to do in a past life. I used to make characters and buildings for video games. It's more or less sculpting with clay and a computer, just a little more technical. And when I'm out here sculpting with dirt, it's just so similar, and it's just this kind of creative outlet that I can have out in the forest, and it's just so enjoyable to me. Like obviously it's hard work, and when you're first starting, you're just trying to get rid of all that duff and stuff, but once you're actually working with the dirt, it's pretty much like working with clay. And the funny thing is that the dirt here actually has a lot of clay in it, so it really does feel like you're working with something special. It's pretty much functional art, right? Like I'll be able to ride my bike on this after, and a lot of people are going to be able to enjoy this. So yeah, it's really satisfying. And there we have behind me one lip that's pretty much going the right direction. Or at least we'll find out later. Well, it's another day in the forest, and it's time to build the landing. So basically the landing is already a downhill section of the mountain. I really just need to clear it out, get rid of the duff on top, and maybe shape it a little bit, and should be good to go. When I'm building trail, I'm often out in the forest for long periods of time. It gets a little lonely out there, so I keep my mind busy with podcasts. And sometimes the podcast kind of sticks to what I'm working on. For example, when I was working on a bit of trail before the stump jump, I was listening to a podcast with Ben Cathro. Now every time I walk past that section, I think of Ben. At any rate, this landing will now remind me of Aaron Gwynn. Alright, I'm back, and I'm not really happy with the lip. Right now it kind of looks like it's going to send you into the tree. Obviously if you just ride in the right line, it won't do that. But right now it looks like it wants to send you that way. So I want to take a little bit of the curve out of it and widen up the lip, and then I think it'll be a little bit more intuitive that way. I'm a bit of a stickler for getting it right. If it's slightly off or a little weird, it bothers me. I can't leave it alone, and I've got to fix it. At any rate, it would only take about an hour to put my mind at ease. Well, I've got my new modified lip, and it looks more direct now, so hopefully that'll help. So I guess all that's left to do now is ride it. Okie dokie. Oof. Oof. Slippery right now. Let go. Testing a new feature is always fraught with uncertainty. Not knowing whether it actually works leaves a whole myriad of outcomes for the mind to dwell on. So I go here. Casing the jump would likely be pain-free, but clipping one of the trees could end in disaster. One I'm hoping to avoid. But it was my creation, and it was up to me to guinea pig it. That's gonna go. Okay. The lip is still soft, so it's I can feel my bike slowing down as I compress into it. That was almost it. My tires are absolutely full of dirt. Like I have no grip on those corners at all. I think the lip is just too soft right now. Yeah, I have to go right in this rut. With a rut forming in the water-saturated dirt, the bike was squirming into the lip. So after a repair, I gave it another go. See if we can clear it like this. Fixing the rut definitely helped. That's good. It wasn't bad, but I got squirrely again over the lip. After a close call with the tree on the left, I decided to let it dry out and try again another day. A few days later, our friend Max was working with us on a video project he's producing. As it turns out, Max also rides bikes, so I thought I'd ask him to give the new jump a try. The lip had firmed up some, and with a bit of tidying up, it was about as good as it would be given the conditions. And to prove to Max that he wasn't going to die on it, I demoed it for him.
I'm going slow.
Oh, it's way better now. I still cased it, but it's firmed up quite a bit now, actually. Max is pretty handy on the bike, and although he spends more time behind the lens than the bars these days, this should be pretty easy for him. Nice. How'd it feel?
Felt really good.
With Max's first attempt at success, getting creative would add a bit of interest to the jump. Yeah, I made the lip so wide, but I just ride here all the time. But I think if you're good, you could probably carve it and then land on the left side there.
That would be cool.
It seemed that he was up for the challenge. Sick.
That one felt a bit better.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
Thanks.
Max is a bit of a natural when it comes to this stuff.
It flows really nicely.
Oh,
like
good.
even when it's a bit wet, that's for sure. I'm stoked, so stoked on this.
A lot of people would call me a content creator or a YouTuber, and I suppose both those things are true. But I would say that what I do is more broad. I like to make stuff, whether it was creating art for video games, or crafting Halloween costumes, or more recently, producing YouTube videos and building mountain bike trails. So with that in mind, I'd describe myself as a maker. And as a maker, the reward is the end product. The ability to say, I made this. Something tangible. Like a jump through a set of trees.